Right, I think we should be on.
Are we live?
Yep, I think we're live.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey everyone, welcome to another vibe coding session with Avail. This one's going to be pretty exciting. We've got a showcase here for the Avail Nexus SDK, focusing on the Nexus UI components that enable some pretty awesome cross-chain transactions and smart contract function calls, which we'll be demoing. We're here with our 400K CMO, Erod, and our VIBECODE, Robin. So how are you guys doing? Feeling all good?
Life is good, man. How you doing?
Can't complain. Ready to get into it. All right, I'm going to quickly kick things off by taking us through a quick overview of what it is that we're going to be showing. So all right. So basically, the Avail Nexus upgrade has gone live. The SDK is working. It works for 9 chains / networks, and it's working for 3 tokens. And you can use it now. Everything is up on the docs. We've got some tutorials, and it works on testnet, it works on mainnet. So we're going to be demoing some of this today. But what does that actually mean, right? So basically, if you have one of these tokens on one of these networks, then you essentially are creating this environment where these tokens can move seamlessly between applications across the different chains and networks. So it sounds good in theory, but basically we wanted to kind of give a specific example, right? So say that you have USDC tokens on OP and Arbitrum, but you want to deposit them on Base, then it's a nightmare, right? We've all been there. Sometimes just navigating it is too much and you just give up. But sometimes you kind of just grin and bear it and work your way through it. But with the Nexus upgrade, you can actually achieve all of this within your DApp. So this can all be done within one front-end experience without having to go anywhere else and start to, bring up third-party bridges, connect your wallet, switch between networks and all of this. You can basically just streamline all of this into one flow. So what we're going to be showing you more or less is something like this, right? So you've got USDC on OP, you've got some USDC on Arbitrum, and first what's going to happen is we're going to move those tokens into Base, and then we're going to deposit them into Avail. But we're going to be doing this basically behind a single button inside of a custom front end that Robin's going to vibe code for us. And so loosely speaking, it's the deposit to Aave from anywhere button. But this is obviously, it doesn't have to be with Aave. It could be with any smart contract and any of the connected networks. We're just using this as a demo. And essentially, this is the core idea behind what we're going to build. So I'll pass it over to Robin, and he can start taking us through the actual build out of it.
Yes, hello to everyone out there. So let me begin by sharing my screen really quick. So first thing I want to do is kind of actually show you a quick demo of what we are going to be doing, right? Hopefully you can see my screen. Yeah, so essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to build something that looks like this, where you'll be able to see your USDC, your unified balance across chains. You can also see your tokens across multiple chains, but we're going to be focusing mostly on the USDC here. And then we're going to have like a big red button that allows you to basically supply into the base market of Aave with your USDC, right? So that's basically what we're doing. This is the end goal that we want to do. But let's get rid of that. What we have right now is a stripped down version of this website, right? So essentially what we're going to be implementing is the Nexus part of this application. So what I've done here is I've basically created a skeleton website where you can connect your wallet, and what you would get is this dummy thing. So you get a unified balance text and some dummy components and all of that, just so that we can make our life easier while we actually code this part out, right? So right now it's just a connect wallet button using ConnectKit, and that's all. It's front end only. We don't have anything integrated right now, and we are going to eventually, soon, integrate our Nexus SDK. All right, so let's first go to
Any
cursor.
questions? Any questions, Edgar, from your side? Any thoughts?
No, I'm just digging into what's going on. I think having just like one UI implementation is, the best thing you can ask for. Not having to go in the back end, just have everything, get taken care of for you. That's a huge value add. I just want to, see what Robin's going to do with it.
Well, we'll see what we can do with it. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna try and share my entire screen so that we can keep switching between the different browser and thing. Or can I? Yeah.
Yeah, there's that one. Is that the one you want?
You can see my cursor window right now. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So, like I mentioned, right, we've got. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So now we're good. Okay. So yeah, we've got our cursor loaded up. We've got this skeleton app also here. So what we want to do is essentially first install Nexus to our app, right? And to do that, I'm just going to basically go to the npm file for like page here, and I'm just going to install it. So the version that I'm going to be using is the 0.1.1 dev.9. That's the latest version that we have right now. So I'll be installing that. Oh wait, I have to. Okay. So as you know, the dependencies get installed, I'll just go through the entire SDK as we have it, right? So it's actually pretty simple to use. You basically just install the SDK, and we've got basically two entry points into the SDK. One is the headless version. So if you have your own custom UI that you would like to build out when you want to transfer your tokens or bridge and execute any particular function, you can build out your own as a UI for it. You don't have to worry about anything. But I mean, it has no React dependencies. You can just do what you want to do with it, right? It's simple to use. But in case you don't want to build out your own UI, you just want to have like a plug and play solution where you can just like drop a React component into your project and just have it working, you can use the Nexus/UI path, which you can just initialize, and basically you basically call the Nexus provider. You input your wallet provider to initialize the SDK, and then you basically get these three buttons. One is the bridge button, the transfer button, and the bridge and execute button. And how it kind of works is pretty simple, right? In your component, you can just drop in this button, and you can choose what you want to pre-fill, how you want it to react, and all of that stuff. And it's actually pretty simple to use. We support on mainnet a bunch of chains. I think almost 9 chains we do support across 3 different tokens of USDC, USDT, and ETH. On testnet, we support a few as well. Actually, on this vibe coding journey, I think I'll just probably use the mainnet chains, because it actually shows how powerful the SDK can really be. Yeah, I mean, this is what we're doing here, right? Like, what we'll actually do during this vibe coding session, and what the AI is going to be doing is basically in the root of our application, it is going to call this Nexus provider, and then wherever our wallet is being initialized or connected, it would then set the provider. So whatever wallet connector you've used, you would get the provider from that, and then set it you with Nexus. And once you have that, you can initialize, and you can kind of use any of these widgets that we have. So we've got 3 widgets. One is the bridge button, the transfer button, and the bridge and execute button. How it kind of looks and feels, I've already kind of showed you, and we'll see soon as well once I've done integrating it. But yeah, I mean, this is what it is, and it's pretty simple to use.
Rob, quick question. Let's say I'm a DApp, right? I'm a new DApp, and I know Scott's been talking about this recently. I'm a new DApp, and I connect to Nexus. Does that automatically mean that I have access to all the chains, different users, and liquidity?
Yes. So once you essentially connect your app to Nexus, it does not matter where you are deployed on. Like, as long as you are deployed on any of the supported chains, your users can basically interact with your app with liquidity they have on any of these 9 chains, right? So instantly, as soon as the user connects their wallet and initializes Nexus, your app gets access to liquidity across these chains, multiple chains.
Nice. Hence the deploy one scale anywhere, right? You don't have to have 11 different versions. It's just one. That's crazy. Like, thinking about 2021, 2022, everything you had to do to like jump from chain to chain, and now it's all coming together in one place, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
One of the other things I was chatting the other day about the difference between the Nexus widgets and then the SDK version. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this, but basically is saying the widget version is like having a pay with PayPal button that you just drop onto your website, whereas the SDK is like you want to use PayPal, but you're building a custom checkout flow, right? Where you're having the fill cart, and you're executing the payments and so on and so forth, and you're fully customizing that. That would be kind of the 2 scenarios where you would use one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, it just allows you to kind of just drop Nexus into your application from anywhere, and not even worry about changing the UI of your application, right? It's as simple as that. And yeah, I mean, we'll show you how you can just deploy and supply your funds into Avail from this application with a single click of a button, right? So let's actually go and start building, because Nexus has been installed. So let's take a look. Okay, so we've got this skeleton-ish UI. We have nothing much going on here, right? This is all just dummy stuff here. So let's actually ask the AI to essentially first get our actual unified balance, right? So for that, we have to now start integrating Nexus into the app. So in order to do that, what I will be doing is I will first, so this is how I like to kind of vibe code myself, is that if you have the docs to kind of, which clearly tells you what you need to do, I simply just either copy the entire text and drop it into the AI so that it gets the context on how it needs to do something. And then I will iterate on top of that, right? So now that we already have this clearly defined steps, I can just copy this. I can be like, okay, hey, in the unified balances, I think we have a component called unified balances. Okay, simple balance card. All right. So in the balances section, okay, I need you to integrate Nexus. Below is an example on how to do it step by step. I'll just give it. I like to be very detailed when I prompt the AI because it just results in a better output, right? So you will need to get the wallet connection provider to use Nexus and then initialize it. Yeah. Below are the steps to show you how. And then I'm gonna just paste whatever I copied from the earlier README, and I'm going to ask you to actually just do it. And yeah, I mean, let's see. It's essentially now looking at the layout.tsx. As you can see now, okay, that's cool. This is actually pretty cool. It has now actually put in the Nexus provider, right? You can see that it has imported Nexus UI. It's called the Nexus provider. And it's now also created a component called Wallet Bridge. It is basically trying to get the provider from the wallet, and it is now putting it back into the layout.tsx. So what's happening here is we have basically taken the Nexus provider component here and we're wrapping it on top of the wallet bridge, which will then be called to kind of check if the wallet is connected. If it is connected, it is going to pass, as you can see here, if the wallet is connected, it would basically, and check if it has a provider. If it does get a provider, it is going to set the provider, right? And hopefully this should work. I mean, it looks right to me so far. It is now starting to change up the simple balance card into actually trying to get the unified balance, I hope. Let me see. Okay, it is finding out that there is some errors. It looks like it has solved it. Let me also just do a quick check if it has called get unified balances. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Okay, it looks pretty nice. I mean, in the sense, it looks pretty all right. Like it looks like it has actually called the get unified balances. So I'm hopeful about where this is going. Let me disconnect this wallet for now, so that when I reload it, okay, looks like something is wrong. Or oh wait, sorry, my bad. I did not run the application. Forgive me.
It can do a lot, but it can't do that.
I mean, it did prompt me to do it, but I actually decided to not pay it any heed. That is my bad. Okay. Hopefully it is running.
So what was the skeleton app that you started off with?
kind of showed it previously, but I mean, now that the AI has changed a bunch of stuff, I don't think I can show it again. But essentially, okay, essentially what it was just the connect wallet button, and when you clicked into it, it would just show like a dummy front end without any data. It would just call like it would have just like a unified balance, and that's it. So let me hit run dev again. Hopefully my laptop is not lagging behind with all of the live streaming that it's doing.
So, Robin, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think CMOs deserve to be paid $400,000 a year?
You're trying to get a hot take out of me. This is I do not know, man. Like, if they are worth it, let them be paid that much, is what I would say if I do not want to pick a fight.
Yeah, but also 800,000 a year.
See, this is what I think. I think we should have a chief DevRel officer, and DevRel should be the new CMOs. So this is my pitch to Prabal and Anurag that make me chief DevRel officer.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's taking some time to actually load for some reason.
So you've integrated Nexus into the dummy app, right? And tried to activate the unified balance. That's where we're at the moment.
Yes, we are. So I'll try and show you, like I can kind of show already. We are basically calling the Avail project Nexus UI path. We're calling the Nexus provider. And with that, we kind of wrap this up, right? And then within that, we call this component called wallet bridge, which again, the AI kind of built. And what it kind of does is it calls this use Nexus object, right? What use Nexus does is that it kind of helps you to initialize the SDK by setting a provider to it. And what I mean by provider is that when you actually connect your wallet to any application, right? What it does is it also creates a provider object that is going to be signing for you, doing all these actions for you. It's like an object that takes care of everything for you, right? And so once you have that connected and you can get that provider, what we're doing is we're going to set that provider into Nexus, which will initialize it. Okay, now it looks like it is running. I don't know why it was taking so long. My laptop seems to be lagging a bit, which is fine. I hope we can get to the end of the session with everything working. So I'll just make that load. It's compiling right now, and it should work. You'll also see that the simple balance card, like before it used to be a simple balance card, which had like a dummy balance in it. You can see like what AI has changed, right? Like it used to have like this simple USDC balance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all of the stuff. But what AI has now, what the LLM has basically added right now is that it again calls the use Nexus thing, and it calls this SDK thing, and also allows us to initialize the SDK if when the component mounts. And then what we can do here is we can now get unified balance. And when we get the unified balances, it should basically get you all the tokens across all the chains that we have, and fetches it for you. I mean, as soon as we get this running, I will ask the AI to, what is happening here?
So, Robin, does Avail DA play any role in what's happening behind Nexus? Do you need to use Avail DA along with Nexus, or how's that work out?
how Avail DA uses Nexus? Is that your
Yeah, do
question?
they work together? Can you use them independently?
I can take on that question while Robin figures out what's not working with the app. So basically, you don't actually have to be built on Avail DA in order to use Nexus, right? You could be a dApp that's built on any of the connected chains, and you can plug in Nexus straight away. Now you can obviously use Nexus, as an Avail native chain, and there will be benefits in doing so, and those benefits will become, more and more pronounced over time, especially as both Nexus matures and as the DA matures. And that's for things like with the light clients, right? So one of the things that Avail does is that there's the light client that cryptographically verifies the DA from any device. Could be as light as a cell phone, and so that basically gives you the equivalence of running a full node, from a phone. And in future, as these solutions build out, the idea is basically to extend that capability so you could have an Avail native application that's going cross-chain with Nexus, and things are being verified right down to the phone. Right now, there's a lot of nuance in that. There's different ways that you can configure your application or your chain. There is sort of some room to move there, but the essential kind of part of it is that the end goal is to enable that level of functionality and also verifiability at the end user level, right? But as of right now, any application can plug Nexus in. These UI components that we're plugging in here, these widgets, are literally drag and drop sort of type, not literally a drag and drop, but close to enabling that button inside of your application. And then you just get all this cross-chain messaging happening in the background. So you could have an application that has 5 different buttons to call. One might call Avail, one might call Compound, you might call some other application, and no matter where your assets were on the connected chains, in that one button you could click it and it would move them around and then deposit them into that smart contract. So yeah, hopefully that sort of explains it. Yeah, Robin, how are you getting on there? Your computer's still working?
I'm trying to. It looks like it's my device's issue, that it's kind of slowing down, but I'll figure it out. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, no problem.
Things may break.
Things will break.
Part of the building process, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but it's good. I think, in summary, you can use Avail DA, you can use Nexus together. There's benefits, but you're not obligated to use them, which is also great. Gives people the flexibility, right? Obviously, everyone has different development schedules, and easy implementations are, good on the fly. But if you want to sort of give your dApp, more solid foundation, that's where you can, plug in Avail DA. So it's good to know you have that flexibility. Hence modular, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's quite hard for people to kind of wrap their heads around as well, because we're so used to kind of like thinking in terms of these like isolated ecosystems, right? Whether it's sort of like Ethereum, everything to begin with, everything was smart contracts on Ethereum, right? And so it was either on Ethereum or it wasn't. It was on like one of these many other chains, sort of thing. Then the L2s came, and it was like, oh, okay, now we've kind of like replicated Ethereum on all of these different L2s. And so, okay, now I'm on Optimism, and I'm inside of this kind of like Optimism superchain ecosystem, or maybe I'm inside of Arbitrum and I'm inside of their ecosystem. But then there's like, you kind of like lost this like collaboration and connection between, right? And then Solana's like, okay, we can do massive amounts of transactions. Everything feels like it's all connected and so on and so forth, because they kind of like turned up the dial on what Ethereum did, but enabled a higher throughput. And so they're kind of able to get away with that sort of strategy for a bit longer, but fundamentally they will run into the exact same and have already started to at under peak loads, running into those same kind of scaling and throughput bottlenecks, right? So when we kind of come along and say, hey, look, we've got this horizontally scalable base layer thing, you can connect all of these different chains on top. I think one of the hard things is that it kind of breaks the fundamental like way of thinking about these isolated ecosystems. And to your point, you don't need to be on Avail DA to use Nexus. You can plug in from an Optimism, from an Arbitrum, from a Scroll, from a Ethereum, from a Sophon, and have these assets moving around these different ecosystems, moving around the different smart contracts, and doing so, pretty quickly and easily. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I think takes a little bit of time to kind of get a bit of an understanding of.
And so, Scott, let me ask you a follow-up. How does that impact fees, right? Because just yesterday I was on the Phantom app, which they've done such a great job in being able to move funds around from different chains. The UI is great, but when you do want to move something from like Polygon over to like Solana, there's the fees, right? They're higher fees. It's not just like a fractional of a cent swap. You're actually paying a couple dollars here or there. There's also higher slippage. So what does that look like with Nexus? Are the fees staying low? Are they fluctuating depending on where you want to move your funds? What does that look like?
Yeah, so the funds are also relatively low. I mean, it does depend which chain you're on. So say, for example, if you have your assets on Ethereum, and you're trying to move them across to OP or whatever, then the funds will be higher than say if you're on OP and you're trying to send them across to another L2 like Arbitrum, right? So those kind of like fundamental like fee discrepancies are there, right? Those are kind of built into the core networks. Now, what is the additional fees on top of that? I mean, they're extremely low. It's like a couple of cents, right? So there's like solver fees for someone to come and pick that up and execute the transaction, which is what enables it to happen really quickly. And that's based on this initial version of Nexus. As the sort of the vision with Nexus is to build out these kind of different execution models or runtimes, which you can have sort of like ZK based, trusted execution environments based, liquidity solvers and so on. And so depending on the type of transaction you're doing, there might be a different variance in the fee. Now, what I mean by that is, a ZK-based transaction may be a little bit longer and it may be a little bit more expensive than a solver-based transaction, right? So that's okay, right? Because they can serve different purposes. If you're wanting to spend $10 and go across chain, you're happy with a very low fee and then basically having the like solver based model come in and execute that for you. And if you're transacting in $1 million or $1 billion, then like you're probably okay waiting a little bit longer for the ZK proofs to go through. You might be willing to pay a slightly higher fee, but still, relatively speaking, it's going to be more or less, it's not going to really matter, the fee.
Nice.
So there's all these kind of different variables at play, and the thinking behind, the Avail thesis is to essentially enable the developers to choose the kind of, or have access to choose the models that they want, and then be able to provide those for users as well, so that they can offer and serve different markets, right?
Okay, so basically the end game is you have a different version that appeals to a different use case. Higher sums would lend themselves to ZK because of security reasons, right? They might take longer, but you're guaranteed mathematically, right? There's no middleman, no centralized authority, mathematically guaranteed that your funds are going to be safe. Whereas if you're just dealing with dApps and you want a quick transaction and you're not so worried about, about the security of those things, then you've got the OP model, which enables that, right? And so the end game is going to have different versions for different use cases. That way it's not so rigid. Is that correct?
Yep, I mean that's essentially the kind of the core thinking there. Cool. So I think Robin's had a little bit of trouble running the program. It was working before, but things broke. But we might actually try and run through a demo that was created as a kind of a backstop in case things did break, so that we can still kind of experience what the flow looks like. So hopefully we can run through that. The next session that we're going to be doing is basically the intention is to build on the session. Step one is to have the actual working application as we sort of intended to. So just recapping again, that's basically to have a standalone application. There's a button there to connect your wallet, and then it'll pull in the unified balances based on whatever it is, the chains that you've got connected. And then there's a button that you can press to deposit Avail, from any of those connected chains. So that will be kind of like the basic level of the functionality. And then in the subsequent session, what we're wanting to do is build out a visualization on top of that, which is going to show kind of what's actually happening behind the scenes, right? Because it's all good and well putting a button there and kind of going, all of this stuff happens. We talk about it theoretically, but when you actually see it happening, visually, it just makes it so much easier to kind of understand what's going on. So that's basically what we're planning on doing. We're going to split this across 2 sessions. So the first session is just getting up and running and getting the core basics down, and then the second session is to focus more on kind of like the front end visualization of what it is that's happening. And the intention of that is kind of helping educate developers what's actually going on, and to kind of inspire developers to use it for different applications. It will also, the hope is to have it actually usable, so people can, put it on a public link. You can go and click the button, you can connect to it, actually deposit those tokens into Avail. You can do it on mainnet, it'll actually work. That's at least the goal. And then the visualization will be showing what's happening behind the scenes. So yeah, definitely looking forward to building that out. And hopefully, hopefully things don't break as much in the next session.
Well, and I mean, to that point, and to be clear, there's nothing going on with the code. Robin, he's a Windows guy, he's an Android guy, and so those products tend to fall apart, and so that's why you need to use a Mac.
Yeah, I mean that's been the lesson of today, isn't it?
That's the real reason we're here to shill Mac over Android.
Product. Yeah, so I've got
So can you actually because I know we already have the demo. Can you post that in the comments for or unless you're trying to play?
You know, I can actually bring it up. 1 second. We have. Let's see.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, the visualization, just showing how it worked in that demo. I think people might enjoy that.
Yeah, definitely.
So it looks like my device is just not being able to handle the live stream. It's gone. Hello?
It's not. Yeah, it's not feeling it, is it?
Yeah, unfortunately it's not. But that's more of my device's issue. It's very light on its, like, it doesn't have the hardware to probably support multiple streaming and coding and AI LLMs all at the same time, which is understandable. But I don't want to be too much of a bummer here. So we already have a demo, right? So what I'm going to try and do, and hopefully this works on my screen right now, or if not, I'll probably let Scott take it up. But essentially what we have here is another demo that we've already pre-built that kind of showcases Nexus anyway. And the idea here is we've got Privy installed. So I'm going to just connect my MetaMask. Oh, wait, I think I see what the issue is.
I can pull mine up in the meantime. I can show. I'm logged in already, so let me. If you keep working on your one, Robin. Are you in? No, it's still loading.
Yeah, it is. It's in. All right, so
cool.
Essentially,
Sorry.
Yep. I think like all the multiple. Wait. Yeah.
All the actions.
Yeah, all the actions just bombarded. That's fine. Now it should work.
Okay. Yeah. So this is essentially a demo that we've created, and it has all of the core UI functions there built in. And then Robin is basically connected his wallet. This demo is, like, this is just arbitrarily kind of created, but you could essentially create this for any application. It's pulling in all of his balances on his wallet. This is the idea of the unified balance, right? So his total unified balance is 4537. It's spread across these 3 tokens, and then by going into the token, you can see the networks that it's on. And then now by clicking any of the UI buttons, he can actually spend that balance. So there's a bridge and supply USDT on Avail, bridge and supply USDC on Avail, which is the thing we were going to be building out into the application today. So yeah, I don't know if you want to give it a shot, Robin.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, this is essentially what we have, right? Like, you can obviously do your normal bridging operations, transfer, like basically you can choose the destination chain, the token you want to transfer, who you want to transfer it to, and the amount, and it'll source liquidity from wherever there is, and it will basically port it over to the destination chain that you wanted to and transfer it to the recipient, right? All of that is fine. But the most powerful thing that kind of Nexus kind of allows you to do is execute any smart contract function from using the unified balance, right? And what that means is like, let's take, bridge and supply USDC on Aave, which is what we wanted to do for this session, right? So as you can see, I've got like actually 20 USDC across multiple chains. So USDC, I've got it across Arbitrum, OP, Base, SOFA, and Polygon POS. So I've got like 10 in Arbitrum, 5 on OP, 2.7 on Base only, right? I've only got 2.7 USDC on Base, but I can use all of these 20 USDC if I want to, right? If I go to Aave, and I can show you my screen on Aave, you'll see that on the Base market, I have nothing really supplied right now on my Aave on Base. So what I'm going to do right now is actually, I'll probably, let me see. I want to put in probably 15, maybe. Hopefully that works. So what it's going to do is try and simulate where I have the liquidity on, and pick and choose which chains. Okay, let me try that again. What's happening? This is not working for some reason.
You try it with maybe a smaller amount, possibly.
Yeah, I can do that. Give me a sec.
This is one of those classic live streaming moments, because this was literally working about 2 hours ago.
I mean, it was working like even 30 minutes ago. It was just working smoothly.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this is happening. So okay, let me try and confirm this again. Scott, you can maybe try it on your end. Maybe it will work. Maybe on your device.
Yeah,
maybe I think my device is just lagging all.
Yeah, I have unified balances on mine, but I don't actually have it set up to bridge and supply USDC. So
no worries.
Yeah, no, I think that's all good. All right. Well, I think we should finish up. Basically, let's finish off the actual application, and then we can post it out once it's up and running. And then on the next vibe coding session, as I was mentioning earlier, we're going to kind of have a UI that visualizes, what's going on. Basically, the application will be very similar in terms of there'll be the one button that you can click, and then from there it'll basically move the tokens along and deposit in one go. Here we go. Seems like we've got something happening, Robin.
Yes. So yeah, as you can see, it's going to be trying and getting liquidity from Arbitrum and OP. The gas and all of that is mentioned here. Hopefully we start the transaction, and again, hopefully we don't lag again this time.
So you were mentioning fees before, Edgar. As you can see, the fees there for transferring the $15 was like a couple of cents. So again, like all relatively speaking, you know, pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So yeah, just a reminder, this is pulling in the USD from Arbitrum and OP, moving it across to base, and then depositing it into Avail on base, all in one go. And that's that's what normally would have taken a very long time, required you using multiple applications, jumping between tabs and windows, gas fees on different chains and those sorts of things. And this functionality can be basically plugged into any application.
So yeah, as you can see, the execution has happened. I've gotten essentially the AUSDC that is from the Avail as well. If you go to my address here.
This is all on mainnet too, by the way.
Yeah, this is all done on mainnet. Actually, I can go to the Avail base market and actually show you once I reload my page. It should show me the balance. Oh, okay. Should go to base, yeah. Connect my wallet. Ah, yes, here. Why is my computer acting so weird today? Okay, yeah. Okay, so as we can see, we've connected our wallet, and you see the 15 USDC. So I had initially only like 2 USDC or 3 USDC on base, but whatever that was there on Arbitrum and Optimism was then bridged to base and then supplied into the Avail market, like within a click, right? And that's essentially what we kind of allow users to do with this. This is basically the best summary of what can be done with Nexus at this point. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, look, things broke and things worked in the end. So that was a win-win. Awesome.
Hey man, that's part of the development process. That's what devs do, right? Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they take 5 minutes to fix. Sometimes they take 5 days to fix. So for those who aren't coders, that's a look into what developers go through. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, thankfully we had the demo there ready to go. So yeah, awesome. Oh, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We will be basically following up with the built out application, and then we'll be following up in the next session with a kind of more interactive UI that visualizes everything that's going on. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.